So it seems Tommy Robinson's march in London yesterday went quite well for him. There was a huge turnout, it was peaceful across the board, and he was able to get his message out there. Now, the mainstream media tried to ignore the march completely. The BBC didn't even put a story on it on their homepage, for instance. Yet in the small article the BBC did do on the march, they're eager to call Tommy Robinson a far-right activist, as is the rest of the mainstream media.
Thousands of people have taken part in a far-right protest in central London this afternoon, led by activist Tommy Robinson.
Now, as I've said before on this channel, we know why the mainstream media use the term far-right. It's a synonym for hate, anger, aggression. They're trying to conjure up images of something like Kristallnacht. Yet personally, I've never understood what makes Tommy Robinson far-right. He's not exactly a devotee of National Socialism or an avid reader of Julius Evola or something. I mean, if you actually look at his political views, he's pretty much a Zionist. He's perfectly accepting of homosexuality, and he does seem to be very open to different cultures in the UK. Seems to me then that he has pretty bog-standard libertarian views, many of which I disagree with. However, his only crime is he's criticised Islam and now stated that the Europeans should have a say on the mass immigration in their countries.
This gathering of patriots Europe has seen, and it's happening in Great Britain. Okay? Get your people organised, unify your countries. Enough is enough. The line in the sand has been drawn. We're being replaced no longer. Okay? Not silently.
Now, as I've said before on this channel, it's perfectly ethical for the people of Europe to have a say in whether they want to be minorities in their own countries and their own continent. We'd grant that to any other people around the world. That would be a no-brainer. Yet for some reason, in Europe, we're supposed to believe we're just evil, I guess, and we need this mass migration. Yet if you mention any of this in the mainstream, you'll be called a far-right conspiracy theorist, even though London is already only about a third white British, probably a quarter white British in 5 to 10 years. This doesn't sound like a theory of replacement, that sounds like a fact. And of course, this isn't just happening in the UK, it's happening all over Europe, it's happening all over the Western world. Vast swathes of people from the third world are being moved whether the people want it or not. Now, of course, it's not far right to oppose that. It's common sense, it's apolitical to oppose that. But the mainstream media and the globalist forces use the term far right as a sort of brainwashing technique on normal people to make them think they're somehow mad and psychotic simply for wanting their countries to maintain their character. Now, I think it's high time we called bluff on all this and stated, if you want to call us far right, fine, call us far right. Now can you please clearly and calmly explain why making Europeans a minority in their own continent is a good idea? This is the question that has to be pressed again and again and again. Don't have to be violent about it, can be perfectly calm. And the reason it has to be pushed so much is because they don't have any answer to it. All they will do is tell you that it's a conspiracy theory, will then just point to Dublin, to Stockholm, to London, to Paris. Or of course call you far right, to which if you just say, okay fine, I'm far right if you want, now can you please explain rationally, they won't have an answer. Now the aim here should be to get the most important issue of our time, that Europeans should have a say on their own future, mainstreamed. Second to that, I believe we should be working from a new paradigm. The left-right dynamic doesn't really explain politics in the modern world. It's now something more like globalism versus traditionalism or the nation. Yet it's my view that as nations we cannot stand alone. We must join together to say in a uniform voice, we want a say on our own future, we want control over our own destiny. It's not about hating anybody, it's about loving our countries, our continents and our culture. Europe is the cradle of world civilization. Its technological and philosophical achievements are massive. I'm sorry if that offends leftists, but it's our duty to pass on this great inheritance to our descendants in good shape, rather than turning our continent into some variant of Singapore and Mogadishu. These are just some of my views, however. Do let me know what you think down below, and do consider subscribing to the channel.